Lesson 3.5 focuses on factoring algebraic expressions. How we began this lesson in class is we started looking at just simplifying fractions. If you remember in class, we started with the fraction of 10/12ths. And I asked you if you would ever leave your answer like that. You all told me no. You said that we always have to simplify fractions into simplest form or into lowest terms. So in order to simplify this, you told me to divide by 2, which would then break this down into 5/6. What we discussed in class was the number that you simplify this by, what you're looking for to simplify fractions, is our greatest common factor. So we said that is the key to factoring algebraic expressions. You have to find the greatest common factor, and then that is the number that you factor out. So if we look at the example over here, let's start with 2j minus 10k. So if we look at example 1, just look at your coefficients. We have 2 and 10. The greatest common factor of 2 and 10 is 2. That goes outside of our parentheses. Then we need to divide each term by 2. So start with 2j. 2 goes into 2 once, which is only going to leave us 1j, or just simply j. Then you go to the second term, 10k. 2 can go into 10 5 times, drop our variable of k down, and then we said take the sign from above and drop that down as well. So that would be our factored expression. Remember what we said in class about checking. You can just quickly expand this. So take 2 times j, which is 2j, and 2 times 5k, which is 10k, and it should match what you had above. Let's look at example 2. Example 2, we have the expression 6a minus 18b. Now I'm going to purposely do this one wrong to begin with. So if you look at our coefficients, 6 and 18, a common factor of 6 and 18 is 2. So 2 would go on the outside. 2 goes into 6a, 3a times, drop down my sign. 2 goes into 18b, 9b. Now we said in class, what I just wrote on the board in green would be wrong. Because if you look inside those parentheses, we still have common factors. So we have not found the greatest common factor. You only found, or I only found, a common factor. To factor an expression completely, we need the greatest common factor. So this won't work. Go back to the original problem. We had 6 and 18. The greatest common factor of 6 and 18 is 6. Now we divide each of those terms by 6. So 6 goes into 6a, 1a time, and 6 goes into 18b, 3b times. Bring that sign down, and there's your factor expression. So that's what we learned on day 1. What we are going to learn on day 2, let me forward just a little bit, is now working with our negative. So if you notice in question A, we have negative 2x minus 3. And if I wanted to, I'm going to start by writing this a little bit larger. I could use add on. So addition, opposite. If you notice looking at this, first start with your numbers, 2 and 3. The only common factor, which is going to be the greatest common factor of 2 and 3, is just simply 1. So 1 is what we're factoring out. Now look at the signs in front of the 2 and 3. They're both negative. So it's not really just 1 that we're factoring out, it's a negative 1. So I'm going to factor out negative 1. Now remember, you're dividing this into each of your terms. So 1 goes into 2, 2 times, drop down my x. Now look at your negatives. A negative divided by negative is a positive. This is going to give me a positive 2x. Same thing for negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 1 is going to leave us with a positive 3. Another way I could write this is by not putting the 1 And there would be my factored expression. Greatest common factor here was just -1 or just simply a negative. Let's look at B. For B, again, I'll write it a little bit larger, -4a minus 8. And what I can do with that minus sign is I can do add up. So start with just the numbers. You have 4 and you have 8. Greatest common factor of 4 and 8 is 4. So that will go outside my parentheses. Now look at the signs. Notice both of the terms are negative, which means it's common. A negative is common to both terms, and that means I have to factor that out. So we are going to factor out a -4. Now divide them. -4a divided by -4 is just going to leave me with a positive a. Break it down to numbers. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Negative divided by negative is a positive. Go to the second term, -8. -8 divided by -4 is going to give me a positive 2. So that will be my factored expression. Don't forget about being able to check these. So if I rewrite my factored expression and I want to expand to double check, -4 times a is -4a, -4 times 2 is -8. So if you look above, that's the same answer I had to start with. So I know I did it correctly. Let's look at one last question. Let's go to number 9. So number 9, I have -8a minus 12b. Again, I can do add up, and that way I'm clear that both of my terms are negative. We need to find the greatest common factor. Well, for 8 and 12, the greatest common factor is 4. Notice both terms are negative, which means I need to factor out a -4. Now we divide. -8a divided by -4 is going to leave me a positive 2a. Second term, -12b divided by -4 is going to leave me a positive 3b. And that will be my factored expression.